Привет, welcome back to this. So, I don't think I put this in the last video. I went to the dealership to ask them some questions, get them a couple more parts for the old 520 here, and the questions that I asked, I ran the VIN number to make sure that it was a 520 EXC, which is what I was told it was, which should have a 6-speed transmission. I was only getting 4 speeds out of it when I was riding it out there. So they ran the VIN for me, and they told me it's a 520 SX, which is like the motocross version, I guess. It's the motocross version. And the SX only has a 4-speed transmission. So this thing only has a 4-speed. That's not exactly what I wanted, but I need to take it to the motocross track and try it out, but I still have to get the clutch the rest of the way. I have no idea where I got to there. Dad came in and started bugging me. So it's a 520 SX 4-speed instead of a 6-speed. I still need to call the dealership on the other bike and make sure that it's a 300 EXC, because if it's not, then the front rim, the whole problem with that bike is the front rim, shocks, forks, axle, triple tree, that whole mess. The whole front end on that bike is wrong. I think it's from a different year, but if by chance I'm wrong on it being an EXC, I might just have that wrong and it might all be good. The door. So I gotta call them about that bike and see what they say, and we'll go from there. I'm probably gonna sell both of them and buy another bike. With that, we'll jump into it, and I'll see you back here in like, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10, I don't know, a little bit. So those are the stock bumper mounts. You can see it's just 2 bolts on the top corner right there and there, and then the same on the other side. That's really weak, so if I have to do any kind of hard pulling, that's just gonna come right off. I'm building a bumper right now, and I want to figure out a way to mount it that's a lot better than that, stronger. So I cut that off. What I'm gonna try to do is slide a piece of metal, this, down in there, and then bolt it a couple times through the frame that way. So I measured this off. I knew it wasn't gonna fit because they didn't have 2 inch by 2 3/4 inch, just 2 by 3, and it looks like it needs to be exactly, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch. Pretty hard doing this by yourself, I'll say that. About 1/8 of an inch shorter. oxyacetylene. I don't know how well this is going to work. We'll find out. You're back. So I told y'all in the last video that I was going to explain what was going on with the Ranger that I pulled the engine out of. So this is that. So I bought the Ranger for parts. I bought it for the rims, the seats, and the bed. The seats I was going to have to swap around rails from Apache to those seats, and I was too lazy at the time, or I didn't have time. I don't remember how exactly when I think it was in the middle of the summer. I'm slurring my words. I think it was in the middle of the summer, so it was hot. I didn't feel like doing it at the time, so I just posted them up on Marketplace. They sold within a couple of days, so wasn't disappointed on that. I used the wheels. The bed I sold for the price that I bought the entire truck for, so I'm happy with that too. Nothing to complain about. I don't know if you can hear the rain, but it is so nice right now. So I'm looking at the truck. I'm like, dude, this would make a perfect drift truck. So I went on the old Marketplace and I found a 2015 Mustang Shelby GT supercharged 5.0. I know it was a supercharged 5.0 with a manual I think it was manual. It doesn't matter. Found a really nice rig that had been rear-ended and was cheap. So I thought, I'll just buy this, I'll put that engine in here, and then I started thinking about the axle, engine, transmission, steering, suspension, safety, uh, wiring, computers, all that stuff. and I decided drifting maybe is not the thing to do on a really tight budget. So I went with the thing that I love doing, crawling. And I thought, well, this is probably a decent thing to do on a tight budget because so you've connected your coil to the frame rail with zip ties and hose clamps. The worst that's going to happen is your truck's going to go. You can always roll down the mountain if your brakes fail or something, but in general, you can build a really ratty crawler and it'll still get the job done just fine. So I decided to do that. I was going to 4BT swap it, put F250 front and rear axles in it, manual transmission, have it sitting way up in the air. The problem with this is, number one, that truck doesn't have a title. That's not that big of a problem if you just trailer your rig to the trail. You can trailer your rig to the trail, you're good. But if somebody tells me, hey, that's my truck, it was stolen, then that's it. It's gone. So that's kind of a problem. And then I thought, if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to do F250 front and rear axles, I'm just going to buy an F250, part it out, keep the axles. My dad, like I mentioned before, I'm working at my dad's house right now. Woo! Dad is tired of all the junk that's laying around. I got 2 dirt bikes, 2 toolboxes, 2 running trucks, 1 garbage truck, a couple of lawnmowers. I got a lot of garbage. So he's not too fond of that. He doesn't like it at all. So I thought I should probably wait on it. So for now, I'm not going to build that thing. I'll probably keep it for a while. Right now I'm going to build the bumper, a couple other things for the Apache, and then I'm going to start dealing dirt bikes. I'm going to sell both of these, buy another one off of the money that I make off of these, fix it up, sell it, and try to start flipping dirt bikes, see how far that can get me. We'll see how it goes. But back to the action. So now we gotta find out if it fits. Barely. That first section does. Alright, well, that fit all the way back to about there. So we know that we need to bash that thing with a hammer a whole bunch more. Well, I was hoping that by the time this video is due, I would have a lot more done on that bumper than that. But I proceeded to get sick and do absolutely nothing but lay flat on my back for a week straight. So, yeah, that happened. Hopefully by the time the next video is live, I have more stuff done with the bumper. We'll hopefully we'll see how things go at work and whatnot, but until then, y'all keep between the ditches, keep the shiny side up and the dirty side down, and I will catch you on the flip-flop. If there's a red bird, we gone.